Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mental Conditioning Monday, the last Monday in January. It's been a fast month. We're moving along. The year is going along already, fast and furious, and so much things are happening. Hopefully, the train is being pushed for everybody. I know the train is definitely being pushed along the road. The train of life, the destination of life, is being pushed along the road. Certainly for me. Hope everybody had a great week this past week. I know that I had a very challenging week. This was, again, like last week I talked about, I was excited to come on here and do the message because it was so many different things going through my mind, and it took me a long time just to figure out what the message was going to be last week. And this week is actually different in that it's even more challenging this week, and even more things have happened, and I really didn't know what the message was going to be right up until, forget it. Now I'm still, actually, as I'm going through my mind, actually debating exactly how I want to navigate with the message, because there's so many different powerful things that happened to me this week. So I'm going to try to put it without doing too many different things at one time. I'm going to try to size it up the best way that I can. But it's really a super powerful week for me, and I think it's something that I want to share as an example for everybody else, because I know we all go through it. We all go through these things. Sometimes I try to, really put myself out there and put my personal experiences out there to share, because I think sometimes that's the greatest form of examples that we can give to get better for ourselves, and a great gift that we can give to others sometimes is to give the examples of things that happen to us. Sometimes it's not easy to share those things because, quite frankly, it's difficult to look inside of ourselves. I always talk about self-evaluation, how important that is to our mental conditioning. And, to do that and share that with yourself a lot of times is tough. So I'm going to attempt to do it and put it out on the table for everybody else. So this week's message is going to be validation versus setbacks. Validation versus setbacks. As I said, I had a really up and down week. But it's an interesting thing to show, because I want to show, how that all contributes to our mindset, how that all contributes to our mental conditioning, and show you how we can use both of those things to our advantage, how we can use it both to our advantage to get better overall. I'm going to start off with the setbacks. First of all, let me just say that, there's a word that I have, eradicated from my vocabulary, and that word is failure. I believe in setbacks every once in a while, but failure never. So that's how I approach things. So when I come up short in things that I want to do, it's never a failure to me. It's just a setback. And then you can kind of use that setback for a great comeback and to get ahead and go forward. One of my goals, my specific goals, I spoke about this quite a bit. My word for the year is networking. And if anyone really knows me, and I guess it's something that I've been honest in talking about, one of my great challenges to my personality traits is that I by nature I'm a pretty shy person, and I have difficulties, I have challenges doing things socially. I still struggle with that a great deal. I still struggle with a great deal of anxiety when it comes to doing anything social. I know that the mental conditioning movement is helping me with that. And that's how I know that this movement is really meant for me, because that's the real thing that's helping me grow. An example that I can show to the world that, for me to overcome those things is something that is a mental conditioning in motion, to show you right in front of your face the fact that I'm on here right now, the fact that whenever you see me show up at any event, that's mental conditioning for me, because it's not easy. It's a very difficult thing for me. So this past week, let me backtrack that a little bit and say that I gave myself a challenge to go into the year. So, I want to make sure that each month I do three events, 3 networking events each month. So I put a number on it to kind of challenge myself. And here we are coming close to the end of the month, and I really didn't have anything. But I did know that I had some things planned out and ready to go. And I had one of the events that I had, and let me be clear that the events are not always necessarily events that have to do with mental conditioning. That I'm not talking about events that I have to go there and talk about mental conditioning. This may be just an event that I'm just going to for whatever the reason. It's not always about, mental conditioning movement. But in essence, it is for me personally, because that is helping me personally, but it's not necessarily something that I'm going there to speak about mental conditioning. But for me, it's a personal win for me. So I had an event this past week that, I wanted to go to. It was for one of my coworkers. Shout out to Veve and his family, and we're definitely praying for him to have a recovery. And I had everything ready to go, but then I had some scheduling conflicts that kind of prevented me from going. However, I feel as though after it was over, I was so disappointed in myself. And it was a great setback for me, because I felt like though there was some scheduling conflicts, and I was able to contribute in other ways besides me being there, but it was important to me to be there. And I felt like that was a great setback, and I really, 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 I felt so disappointed by that, and I really felt that was something that was a great hit to the movement for myself. Not a failure, but a setback. And you have to understand, in those situations in life, these things are going to happen. It does happen, and it's almost, I don't want to say a good thing, but it's something that when you can identify it, that was a setback there. Now I have to make an adjustment to say, you know what, make sure that doesn't happen again. So will it happen again? Yeah, it's going to happen again. But the fact that you can recognize that setback, it gives me a chance to make a comeback and get better the next time. So that really had me down, early part of the week. But this was actually a very busy weekend that I knew I had like 4 other events to try to get to, and that schedule was kind of clear for that. And the second event that I did actually go to on Saturday was something that is an event that I've been going to for probably, I think this is the 5th year that I've gone to. Actually, in 2015, they actually gave me an honor, and that's, as you can see, that's in the back. I was honored, and I celebrate that brother. It was a great honor to go there and to receive that. So I always go to that, because that's one of those things that brings up the next word, and it's called validation. I'm always, from a mental standpoint, I think it's a great thing to give validation to yourself first and foremost. And that's a big part of mental conditioning. Validation. When you can accomplish something, first and foremost, even before somebody else gives you that validation, you have to give the validation to yourself to say, you know what, I conquered something, and I have to keep working on it. I have to keep working on it. And that validation is sometimes just as powerful. I won't even say sometimes. That validation, this is where we're matching it up here. That validation is just as important as the setback. Because you have to sometimes tell yourself, you know what, you did a good job there. You fought through, that challenge that was out there for you. You fought through it, and you were able to climb over it. You were able to conquer that in this particular round. The next round, you're going to have to get back on and get back out there and fight again and conquer it again. But validation for yourself is so very, very, very important. And we should never underestimate the power of that validation. So that's why I really enjoyed, going to that event. Even though, you don't go there and, I was honored in 2015, but that didn't matter. That doesn't matter to me. I still go back and support the other men that are being honored each and every year, because I realize how important that is. And that's another thing that we can do, in the movement to help each other out. Validate each other. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, man, or you know what, your female friend or female friends together. Nothing wrong with saying, you know what, girl, you did a good job. You know what, my man, you did a good job. That validation sometimes is bigger than what you can imagine. It's something that just came out of your mouth, but by the time it reaches somebody else's ears, it's something that gives them great pride and great pleasure, and it allows them to keep going in the movement of what it is that they're trying to do. So that's very important. It's just as important as those setbacks. And we sometimes, we have people that are around us that when you have the setback, you go to that person, you know what, it's okay, it happens. Get back on the horse and keep on going. So that's very important. And Saturday was great because, I was re-honored through my surprise. I went there to, like I said, stand in support of the other men that were there and being honored. And I was re-honored, and I was given this great, outstanding plaque. I'll share it with you guys. It was such an honor. I don't know if you can read that. I'll read it to you guys real. It says, on January 27th of 2018, we celebrate thy brother community. Re-honor you, Elliot Allen. Year after year, you've continued to take it up a notch that's worth celebrating. Your example matters. You matter. celebrate thy brother on all days. So I thank the Celebrate Thy Brother team on that. And that, was a great honor, a great, great, great honor. And I just want to add another part to that about, our challenges in life. It was a challenge for me this week just to go to these things. I want to be clear on that. It's not easy for me to go to these things. It's not easy for me to actually, when they call my name, and I always tease Shanice Starr, shout out to Shanice Starr and Latoya Parker, who organized this event. And whenever I talk to her, me and her talk, I always tease her and tell her, like, you killing me. You always put me on the spot. When they gave me that award, I didn't know I was going to get it. When they gave me this one, I didn't know I was going to get it. And I always, tease her and say, you doing that on purpose, because she puts me on the spot. Because I be saying it, I'm super excited about it, but inside I'm like, oh man, I got to go up on the stage, and even when it's over, even when the event is over, I'm still have that anxiety inside of me that it's like, oh man, I kind of want to leave, I'm enjoying the whole thing, but like yesterday, I didn't even get a chance to say hello to her because it's like the anxiety is there. But at the same time, the validation of receiving something like this, lets me know that, you're pushing forward. The mental conditioning movement is pushing forward. So I greatly appreciate that. And we all have those things in our lives. So let's look for those validations, not just from other people, but let's find it within ourselves first. And when we have those setbacks, like I had this week, you know what? Embrace that too. And just understand that that setback is allowing for a big time comeback. So it really was a powerful week. And I was able to kind of do both, have that setback and then have a comeback with some validation, later on in the week. And I still got a few more events that I actually have to handle this week. But I did make my 3. As a matter of fact, I did 4 events. So I'm very, very, happy with that. I did miss out on the one, and I'm disappointed by it. But, things like that happen. Is a setback, but I'm going to get better. I'm going to work on it. And that's my message for this week. I hope that came out pretty clear, because there's a lot of emotions in that and me trying to deliver that message, because it is personal to me and it is something that I hold very, very, very highly and dear, because it's a great challenge to me. So I'm kind of exposing my challenges, but I think that that's part of the movement, is that we all have to be able to do that at certain times. So hopefully everybody else, whatever your challenges are, that will be my challenge to you guys this week, to identify your challenges in life. What are the things that cause you your greatest setbacks, or what are the things that cause you, to be at high risk for setbacks? Identify that and really attack it and challenge it. Put a number on it. If you have to put a number on it, say, this week I want to make sure I do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever amount of times, and use that as, a soldier to boost. Use it as an exercise, to boost yourself and move forward in the mental condition and movement. So I thank everybody for listening. This was therapeutic for me to be able to share it, and I hope you guys can get something from that. I will see you guys during the week. With any further information, we're still working on the Mental Conditioning Family Series, Family Fun Run, and that's coming along real, real, real good. I'm going to have some participants shortly, interviews to show you guys exactly who's going to be in it. So I'm getting excited about that. Thank you, everybody, for, tuning in once again to Mental Conditioning Monday. Everybody have a fabulous week, and I will talk to you guys real soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.